Welcome back to another episode of Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliberti. Today we are welcomed with Nicole and Pete, who are going to share their story of adopting their 2 children through Adoptions from the Heart. Welcome, Nicole and Pete.
Thank you for having us.
So you guys have 2 children. How old are they?
So we have Nathan, who will be 8 on Thursday, and then we have Carissa, who is 3.
Talk to us about your daughter. So she does have special needs. Can you discuss a little bit about that?
Sure. She has Down syndrome. She was emergency placement. We got notified, 24 hours?
No.
If that?
Less than 20.
It was less than 24 hours.
It was an emergency. It was an emergency placement and email situation.
Okay.
So we got the email, and then we were notified that we were picked, like around 5 o'clock. And Stephanie was like,
"You'll be at the hospital at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning."
So we jumped into action, and we knew from the email that she had Down syndrome, and we were open to that on our profile. She had some cardiac issues going on that sort of go along with Down syndrome, and so we were made aware of some of that also, and we went to the NICU the next day, and we met birth mom and the birth father and the birth mom's parents. Yeah, we brought her home, and it's been an adventure. It's been a roller coaster. You know, she's been through a lot in her 3 years, and we've had to do a lot of advocating on her behalf to get her the care that she needs. She's a little mystery, and sometimes the doctors tell us that things are fine, and we're like, no, that we need to keep looking into this. So I don't know. The sun always shines in her world. So she's amazing. I think it has thrown a tailspin into things. I don't think going from 1 child to 2, we knew was going to be a challenge, but then throwing in the special needs, and she was born right before COVID happened. And so navigating the hospital scene and all of that with masks and the nurses running after you to take your temperature. Only one person in the hospital at a time. But I mean, we did it because she's our daughter, and that's what we're here for. So
do you have any advice for folks who are maybe considering opening up their profile key to special needs, specifically Down syndrome? Because I think sometimes people hear that word and it's an immediate no. And I recently did a post-placement for a family that was placed with a child with Down syndrome, not through our agency, and I have not had a lot of exposure to it. And I learned so much about the community with the conversations, the support, the resources I never knew existed. So do you have any support, guidance, advice that you would give for folks who are maybe considering it, but still a little cautious of I don't know if this is for me? What would you say to them?
Do it.
Sign
Hands down.
me up.
Yeah. I mean, every kid has special needs to some degree. Every kid comes to you with, whether they're born to you biologically or they're adopted, their own sort of package of things that they're, that are different about them and nuances. And we don't look at Carissa as any different than that. She has her needs and her issues, and she goes to therapy and, all of those things. But you're right. The community literally came out of the woodwork, and it was incredible. Not just the Down syndrome community, but also the congenital heart disease community. We had so much support, and especially seeing that through COVID, the online support was there, and there was, Zoom support groups, and even in the NICU or in the PICU, when she had her surgery, and, just seeing another mom in there that you had seen online on Facebook, or you know what I mean? And just sort of we couldn't talk because we couldn't get close to each other, but we could connect and we could see each other's eyes, and being able to peek through the window at each other's babies, and okay, go get something to eat. I'll keep my eye on them, or whatever. So I feel there is so much support out there. And I tell people all the time, Carissa's more like us than she is different. She's a typical toddler. She has her likes and her dislikes and her sassiness, goldfish crackers and chicken nuggets all the way for her. I feel she's a little bit more behind than your typical 3-year-old. There's nothing, she's more alike than she is different.
That's beautiful.
So I say go for it. And you never know what's going to happen anyway.
There's unknown no matter what, right?
No matter what.
Yeah.
You could think that you're getting the, quote unquote, perfectly healthy baby, and
things happen.
Absolutely.
So Pete, when you first came into this process and you sat down with Adoptions from the Heart and you were envisioning growing your family and becoming parents, did you ever think it would be what it was?
I didn't know what to expect.
And sometimes that's okay, right? Like, I think sometimes folks come to us, especially during like intake process, and it's like, okay, what do we need to plan for? What's gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? Like, they want all these answers, which I can understand and appreciate. I'm a little type A, a little bit of a controlling person, so I can appreciate it. But there's so much unknown. Like, you're taking this leap of faith that you do anytime in life when becoming parents, right? Like, there's no one way of handling it. Any advice for folks who are considering adoption but are hesitant about making that first phone call?
I mean, yeah, I think the info session was huge for us when we went, because we had interviewed other agencies, and I think walking out of the info session, we both were like, this is where we belong.
Yeah.
Like,
I love
this
that.
is, it was like that wedding dress feel. Like, this is this is our place. Anything worth doing is tough. We knew it was going to be a rough journey, and rough in the fact that it's emotional, and it's not, I think, for a lot of people what they envision for putting their family together initially. And now that I look back on it, like, I can't imagine doing it any other way. This is just the way that it was meant to be for us. And yeah, I mean, I say just pick up the phone and call and talk to, it doesn't even have to be, I feel like, an info session. The website has so much information on it. Like, I mean, so even just starting there.
Do your due diligence, because you want to make sure that it's a right fit. And I love that you describe it in that way of like when you wear your wedding dress and you just feel like it's the right fit, because we may not be the right fit for everyone, and that's okay. You guys should keep calling agencies, figuring out which path is the best path for you, because this is a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
Don't just sign up with somebody or an agency because you want a baby. Like,
Right.
You have to make sure you feel like it's the right fit and you have the right people in your corner as you're navigating this process, even after placement.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, because it's right. You're maintaining a relationship with the agency. That doesn't end at placement or at finalization. Like, I mean, I still call Steph all the time. Yeah. And I mean, and truly too, because we're still sending letters and we're setting up visits, and we're, stations that come up that I'm like, I don't know how do I say this, or how do we go about this? So it's a lifelong journey, just like it is with the birth families. You're joined forever. And
Absolutely.
So one day, I'm sure the kids are gonna, they're gonna take over that role. And so I want to know that the agency is going to be able to be there for them too, and to support the birth families too. That was a big thing for us. We wanted to make sure that we found an agency that was going to support the birth families, just like they were going to support the adoptive families, because we're all in it together, and nobody's any more or less important than anybody else.
Well, you guys are great. As social workers, as staff members, we're trying to navigate, like, what do we change? What do we keep? And I think just to hear your story, you're clearly a reflection of who we are and what we want to continue to be at Adoptions from the Heart. We're grateful for clients like you. You make our jobs easier. I'm happy to hear your family is complete. Right? We're complete on 2, maybe 3. And I'm just excited that you have this great relationship with your social worker even years later. So if you are interested in learning more about adoption, connecting with families such as this wonderful couple, take an info meeting, talk to a local office, learn more about our program. That's what we're here for. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.